Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We are so excited to have you guys today. We have Danielle and Michael from Clark and Aldine with us today to talk all things pre-construction. Before we get started, I just want to set some kind of ground rules and housekeeping items. We would love for you guys to interact. So in the chat below, please go ahead and throw in your name, your company, where you're from, maybe your role, and ultimately what you're looking forward to today. We'll start in the next couple minutes. Just want to make sure everyone can get in on time. But Michael and Danielle, I have a very, very important question for you guys as we are approaching the holidays. What is the one Christmas cookie you guys can't live without?
Oh,
Mine's easy. It is Danielle's Uncle Tom's cookies. There's some kind of sugar cookies, squeezes them out into Christmas trees and wreaths and stuff. He's been doing it for years. And I will be upset if we don't. There was one Christmas where he didn't make them,
Oh
and
no.
I'm not happy about it.
they're like a
Why
butter
would he make
Yeah,
them?
it's like a sugar butter cookie. I don't know. He just
because
did it.
they're a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because they're a lot of work.
He's single, never married, never had kids, but now that, he has, I guess our boys are his nephews.
Great,
Great.
great.
Great nephews,
Yes.
whatever. So he takes care of them. So we definitely get extra cookies. They're awesome.
That's fair. But you don't give them to your kids, right? You keep them for yourself.
No, they will try to steal some of them, but I got to make sure at least a pound goes to me.
Oh my God.
That's fair. So that
I'm
is
not joking.
No, I won't eat them all in a day.
that's so fun. I love Dan's favorite.
Mine would be just a basic sugar cookie.
Just
We
not Uncle Tom's, but you basic.
ours, yeah, like our cutout ones, just because the boys love to do that. And now that we have an almost 13-year-old and a 10-year-old
Oh,
still into it, and that's exciting to me. So
totally. It's a special little thing you guys can do each year.
yes,
I
yes.
love that. I love that. Well, the chat is popping off. I love to see
See
it.
that? Thank
Uh,
you guys all for joining it. It's pretty awesome. Means a lot. I hope you get some value out of today.
Me too.
we're so excited. Oh, everyone is popping off about cookies too. More cookies, please. We have people from Vancouver, Texas,
Oh,
Georgia.
and our sugar cookies are gluten free. Just
Oh,
in case
gluten-free.
anybody wants to know.
Well, if you have a good recipe, maybe we should share that in our follow-up email after this.
That's fine.
I do.
Better shoot
Okay,
us at the
perfect.
end.
Along with our pre-construction information, we're going to share a gluten-free sugar recipe. I love it.
Love it.
Well, we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a second. Oh, yeah, Rob definitely needs the gluten-free sugar recipe. He just said that
Got
right.
you. I
You
got
got it.
you. And it works for cutouts, just so you know, because that's like important.
You have to have a good shape for Christmas to have a good shape. It can't just be a
Yeah,
circle. I
yeah.
totally feel that. All right. Well, everyone, we're going to get started here in a little bit. We're about at 300 participants, which is very exciting for our last webinar of the year. Just a couple things to remember. One, please keep the chat going. We know that you guys are going to be experiencing a lot of great information from Michael and Danielle today, but you guys also have the opportunity to learn from each other. So please keep interacting in the chat. However, if you have a question directly for Michael and Danielle, please use the QA and we'll do our best to get to as many as we can throughout this webinar experience. Um, yeah, other than that, I think we should get going. Michael and Danielle, would you guys just introduce yourself real quick to everyone?
Sure. I'm Michael Gutelli, co-founder, owner, and general contractor of Clark and Aldine. We are a residential design build firm in the Detroit metro area. We specialize in residential remodeling, interior design, and we're starting to dabble into new construction.
So we're geeked to have you guys here. And just an FYI, our kids have a snow day today. We did threaten them with their lives to not come in here, but you never know.
You
If
never know what happens.
they're any screaming or yelling, that's why.
You should say no Uncle Tom's cookies.
Lovely brothers.
That we probably should.
Yes, snow and ice
So,
today. And
wow,
rain. It's raining and snowing right now, so it's a lovely mix here.
it's a nice little mess. I love it. It
That is
makes
it.
sense right before the holiday, though.
Of
Gotta have
course.
them come. Yeah, that
We
little.
are, over the past week and a half, we probably have 7 inches already, which is pretty early, but whatever. It's fine.
That's wild. Well, we're happy that you guys are able to be at home and talk with us today and talk with the over 300 people that are here to learn about pre-construction. We are so excited to learn from you all. A lot of people kind of overlook this like critical part of like pre-construction and having it dialed in and making sure it is a really well formatted process and experience for you and your guys' clients. So, um, how did you guys like really take interest in making sure your pre-construction process was dialed in? Can we just
Uh,
start with that?
Yeah, I mean, losing money up front, when you're a small, we're still a small business. When you look at the books after a couple of years, you're like, wow, we've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in upfront work, not going through pre-con or, submitting an estimate thinking, we think it's going to cost what it's going to cost and come to find out it's way more and the clients don't want to pay. It's the due diligence of the upfront work that everybody in our industry should be doing. I would say when we really took it seriously was after the first Contractor Coalition Summit and seeing how Nick and Brad specifically had really dialed in their pre-con process on both the new construction and remodeling side. That's when we really started taking it seriously. And what makes us unique is we do have interior design in-house, and that's part of our package. So combining that with the construction in the pre-con format, it makes it a little bit more gamified for our clients. And we just really pitch it as an investment up front. And we always get the question, is this cost go towards my project? Yes, we can either give you an estimate now and hit you with change order, change order, change order, or we do the upfront work and then give you an estimate, you sign, and we move forward. Regardless, they're going to pay. We just prefer that it's upfront and we have all the questions answered. We've identified any of the issues and potential things that could pop up.
Love
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I would just add in that there was like a very specific moment for us that we realized that pre-construction was necessary. And that was when, after we had gone to coalition and we had started to implement it slightly, and then we had a client back out of a project entirely because the way that we had originally estimated it was significantly lower than the actual cost was going to be.
Yep.
And we ended up losing like almost 100 grand on this job, and it was a nightmare of a nightmare. And so there was just a lot of learnings in that. And a lot of the learnings that came from losing a lot of money.
And how, at like what point in your guys' company's history, like did that happen? Was that at the beginning? Was that kind of in the middle? Was that recently?
I was
Like,
going into our fourth year, so we're about 8 years in total, so kind of halfway through. And really, what happened, especially when we went into COVID in 2020 and like coming out of the lockdown, because in Michigan we were shut down for almost 2 months. We always say that's like we built the house of Clark and Aldine, and now we had to build the foundation after the fact. That pre-con process and a lot of our other processes too were part of that foundation that we had to retroactively build. I mean, we went from a team of just the two of us and all of our trade partners to then a team of 10, and now we're back down to just the two of us,
mhm.
and a plethora of trades that we work with that are like family, and we kind of say like they're essentially 1099 employees of ours. We use the same team on every project, and it eliminates the finger pointing. It eliminates balls getting dropped and a lot of issues. It's a challenge, but right now that's where we're finding the best results, and we're happy.
I love that. Well, and it just goes to show that like even if you are well into your business, like you guys are halfway through like what your current tenure is with your business, you can change or you can kind of start to set these boundaries or expectations.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
I would really love to just kind of go through your full pre-construction process kind of from the start. Like,
Let's do it.
where do you really begin and how do you start like intaking those leads and vetting those leads? Like, can you show us or tell us what that process looks like?
Yes, I can share my screen now.
We have a document to share with
I
you.
love it.
All right, I'm gonna hit
So
share now.
pull this up on here so you guys can actually see.
Yep.
You can see the title slide.
All
It
right.
kind of is showing slide 1 and 2. I think it's in presenter mode
Ah,
on our side.
my apologies on that.
Try one more time.
User error.
That's okay. We can't all be perfect at PowerPoint. PowerPoint is something though that I feel like a lot of people like are really, really good at, where they're like, I'll just put some words on a thing. But this is like a good PowerPoint because this looks beautiful.
Thank you. Can you see the title slide now?
We are good to go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I would say this is just an intro to who we are. Michael and I are obviously a husband and wife team, so we do all the things together.
Yes, we do.
And I'm not going to read verbatim this slide, but just a little bit about us is that we have learned from our experiences and what we did wrong. And our goal here is to really showcase to everybody on this call of how you can grow and change. And we're very excited to be deeply human and relatable to hopefully a lot of you.
We love all the good nitty-gritty stories, so please share as many as you want.
For sure. So kind of our pre-construction philosophy, it really is how we start every project, right? Our mindset, pre-con sets the tone for the trust, clarity, and the seamless client experience, and it really does. It's when we get really intimate with our clients. Again, it's a lot of that upfront investment, not only from a financial perspective from the client, but it's a lot of time as well. And what we find is they're able to see the value. Sometimes it's a challenge selling pre-con in because while in the industry it's talked about a lot now and it really is the standard, it hasn't reached from a consumer perspective and client side that rings true today. You still have a lot of people in our industry, which I'm sure we all can agree that we battle against, free estimates and low balls and going into a project with a $50,000 estimate knowing damn well it's going to be 150 and you just hit client with change order after change order, and we just refuse to do that. Another big selling point for us are our clients really, late 30s to mid 50s, dual income, higher household income, multiple kids, having a project management system where everything lives is a selling point for them. And it's where we're able to push Buildertrend and get them to understand the value in a kind of a one-stop shop, not only from a Clark and Aldine perspective, because we do hold all the keys, but also our PM software. And then the last piece is why it matters. We know pre-con, it's fewer surprises. We're stronger, have stronger alignment from the jump, consistent systems, and really it's where happier clients and repeat work come from. So that's really kind of where we're at from a philosophy standpoint.
Awesome. And as we kind of get into this,
Yeah.
I know some questions are already popping up
Yeah.
as you get into your full flow. Are you guys typically doing fixed price or cost plus estimate?
We're,
Sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we're fixed price across the board. One thing we recently switched is we do have projects where it is predominantly residential remodel, but we may be building a 2.5 car garage with living space above, or we're putting an addition on the home. What we do at that point, it's still fixed price, but we'll bring our markup down on new construction. Doing new construction at our fixed price markup is extremely difficult. So in those areas, we'll bring it down because honestly, it's a lot simpler and easier to do the new construction aspect than remodeling. So that's where we can get creative with our numbers and still hit our margins on the back end.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, let's dive
So
into how you guys get started on this process. I love
Okay.
it.
So we're really going to get into the nitty gritty here.
Yay.
This is our website, and you're going to be able to see that on here we have integrated Buildertrends form so that our clients can start the process this way, telling us about their job. We have gone back and forth with, do we include budget? Do we not include budget? We've learned the hard way that if we don't include budget, that really just doesn't deter enough people.
Yeah.
And we're too small of a team to have inquiries come in that don't meet our standards.
And we still have clients that will select our kind of lowest ballpark, estimate or budget price, which is 100 to 150K. And they'll say, well, our budget's actually a little less, but hoping you can do it. And by a little less, they're trying to get a kitchen for 35 grand. It's like, I'm sorry, I wish we could, but we just can't do that. But it at least puts up a firewall, I'll say, from the tire kickers just submitting a form thinking that they can get, the Taj Mahal on a Walmart budget.
So then just so you guys can kind of see from here, this then feeds into Buildertrend. So that top part is underneath the sales section. Everything will come in through there. And then inside there, we have our lead activity. And that will showcase like where we can keep track of everything. That way it's like a one-stop shop. You can see at the very bottom where it says details, I wrote a nice little caption. Anytime we do an intake call, we are writing anything that happened inside the call here. So this is kind of what it looks like. Our clients fill out the form for us. Michael and I respond via email. Lately, we've been using Calendly as a link to send them saying, hey, schedule a 15-minute call with us. We'd love to learn more about your project. Then on that 15-minute call, under that description is where we are keeping that intake.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then really this is the discovery phase. What we're assessing during that is, are we a good fit and a good alignment? Like we'll know right off the bat if we're vibing with each other or not. If it's a super stale call and I can be a little bit more on the business side, Danielle's very much just a strong personality. We'll know right away if it's going to be a good fit or not. We're talking about the project scope and timing. Timing is a big one. Just to meet expectations with an understanding of like, yes, we could start pre-construction in the next month, but we're looking at 6 months of pre-con work before we can even hit the ground, or 3 months and then another 3 months before we can start. Here's a big question. This is something that comes up, like, what's the number one thing we need to know? Who is the decision maker and who needs to be in the discussions with us? We still find a lot. We're getting, again, husband and wife, kids, dual income, but it's typically what we're seeing about 75% of the time. It's the wife who's reaching out. She's who we're having the call with, but the husband is the decision maker. So we've gone through the upfront. We have the 15-minute discovery call. We then go into a in-person consultation, which we'll hit on in a minute. And then we flip over kind of the rough ballpark estimate of what we think it's going to cost based on everything we've seen and what we've talked about, and then the pre-con fee. And they either ghost us or they get back to us and be like, yeah, I talked to my husband. He's not comfortable moving forward. So we've really put it in process now. Like if there's two decision makers, those two decision makers need to be in every meeting, on every call, until we get to a certain point. And then budget clarity. A lot of times people will say, well, I don't know what this is going to cost. I'm not really sure what my budget is. I don't have a budget. Most of the time when they say they don't have a budget, there's definitely a number that will scare them. And that's the question that we ask them is, what is a number we could tell you that would scare you? And
That's a really creative way of looking at it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we always look at this as if a client were to go to buy a car and say that they didn't have a budget for a car,
Yep.
like that's just not realistic. Like you have to have some form of budget if you are exploring this type of investment. And so I don't want to waste our time and I don't want to waste their time. And that's something that we can really get right down to the nitty gritty, because if it's too low of an investment, then we both know that it's not worth our time or theirs to have us out.
Yeah. And how do you guys have that conversation then if you know that we can't do that kitchen for $30,000 for you, what
We're
is
very
the follow-up
direct.
like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our line is this, and this is a big pitch for us, is we're transparent from the jump. We would rather you be upset with us now by telling you the truth than upset with us down the line when we're already kind of, for lack of a better term, in bed together from a business perspective. And we're telling you something that you don't want to hear, or that's completely unrealistic and not feasible from a financial perspective. So,
and typically what we find is when we do tell clients that, we have so much historical data that we can share with them of like, hey, we've just did a kitchen like this, and this is really where the ballpark estimate came in at. A lot of times we have clients say, hey, like, that's awesome. I really appreciate this. I just didn't have an educational value on this. Like, let me think about this and decide if we still want to move forward. And 9 out of 10 times we still have clients that will schedule the next phase, which is our in-home consultation.
Right.
So let's kind of
one final question kind of on this, just for people listening that maybe don't have kind of like that directness or they haven't tried that yet. Where did that confidence come from, and how did you actually take it? Or were you guys always like that from the beginning? Like you always were this direct, you always knew this kind of boundary set.
oh, we were
learned.
Yeah.
We learned from a lot of mistakes. And I think like our number one thing that we talk about now is like having those difficult or challenging conversations as soon as possible. Like Michael always says, eat the frog.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what our first business coach told us. Eat the frog. Wake up in the morning, you do the most difficult task first. You have the most challenging conversation first. You tackle and head on whatever the thing is that's stressing you out or giving you the most anxiety right away. and then the rest of your day is easy. And it's hard sometimes. People pay us a lot of money to create beautiful spaces in their homes that are safe, that are to code, and that they can enjoy just by looking at a finished wall. And it sucks having to have those hard conversations with people. We hate it. Again, it's like we wish we could do all of this and make dreams come true for nothing, but we just can't, and we're running a business. And when you're upfront about it and you're business about it, but you're also not we find that you can't be so stale and so stiff that it's just like, this is what it is. You have to have a human connection. And we're very much in the relationship business. And we're not friends with all of our clients, but we certainly want to have an amicable relationship and mutual respect with all our clients.
I think that the way that we run our business is, again, just as humanly relatable as we possibly can be. And so that's something that we always come back to is, even though these conversations are tough and hard and they're really direct, we find that, the two other things that we have to remind ourselves is that it's not our house and we don't work for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that kind of is a good segue into, I think you mentioned like an at-home consultation
Yep.
and that real focus on relationships.
Yeah.
How do you really define that working relationship as you move into the consultation? Because you said, I'm not friends with everyone, but we're still going to work together. What does that look like, and how do you define it within this process?
I mean, it really depends on the client. It is kind of like balancing the tightrope between wanting to be very like cordial and loose in the dialogue and conversation, just being personable, but also be able to have tough conversations that involve money.
So one thing is I feel like as we're going through this pre-construction process, up until we actually sign pre-construction, we're pretty lax on like how we communicate with clients. Like we will answer through DMs, we will answer through text message,
Yeah.
we'll answer through email, versus like once we're in pre-construction, we really hone everything in and all communication then, and that's where boundaries are really set on our projects. So like, this is how you communicate with us on the project's level. And we'll dive into that, but we do all of our communication through Buildertrend.
Yeah.
We made that switch about
A year ago.
and that has just made such a significant difference for us.
Yeah.
And it makes documentation incredible.
Yeah, and clients understand it too. We still do have clients that will call or send us an email or a text message, and we'll just say like, completely get it. If you don't mind, can you throw this on the message on Buildertrend and make sure it's sent to all of us so we have it all in one place? And they do that. We live in a communication world where there is so many various forms of touch points, DM, text messages, emails. I guess that's calling. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's the fun action.
But that's a lot. It used to be just a phone call. Then it was a phone call and email. Then it was the DM, and now you have a PM software where you can have all your messaging there. It keeps everything super tight, and every project we've had since we integrated that has been smooth because we can always go back to the in particular thread about the cabinet elevations or the exterior cladding change order, whatever it is. We start everything off with an individual email or individual message versus an email that has 172 responses in a thread. It's impossible to find things. So that's one area where we're able to kind of dial it in.
The other aspect is like in this in-home consultation, this is where we're really going to be able to see if we are a good fit. Like the phone call's one thing to see if you're a good fit, but when you actually walk in a client's home and space and you get to meet them in person, you're going to get to see like one of the things that Michael and I really pride ourselves on is like, we're not going to take on every job. Not only can we not take on every job, like not every client is right for us. And our lifestyle and the way that we want to run our business is so essential to our everyday well-being that if either one of us feel like we're in a client space or a potential client space and that energy or vibe is off, like that's not the right client for us.
Yeah, that's something we'd like to point out to anybody on here that is either a husband and wife team, partner and partner team. If you have a partner in your business who has say in decisions, or you just have you're a GC and have a really strong relationship with your PM, whatever it is, if there's some form of relationship in the company, if you feel in your gut that a project is not right, walk away. Now, I'm being serious.
Serious.
We have hit that scarcity mode so many times where we haven't had something come in 3 months, and we really need to build out the calendar for next year. And we'll take on a job that we know, like we talk ourselves into taking it because it's going to be fine. It was just a weird day. We were off. It was us. And every single time it bites us in the ass. Every single time. It's not worth it if you go into a situation just feeling off a bit. You should take some time to reflect on it and really think, is this something you want to take on?
So in this in-home consultation, just to kind of like circle back here and give you guys an idea of what we're doing, we're there, we're meeting the clients, we're really getting an idea, we're like walking the space, getting an idea of what their actual scope is, what their priorities are, their investment and timeline. And that is all we're doing on here. We're not doing any measurements, we're not taking any pictures. We're just meeting them and walking through. And yes, this is something that we offer for free.
Yeah. And I am doing things. I'm looking at the electrical panel. I'm looking at their wiring. If the basement is unfinished, we do have a lot of finished basements here. I'm looking at the water heater, looking at all the mechanicals just to see, okay, we have a big electrical line item here. We're definitely not going to be able to do this because those things have bitten us too. So we want to do any of our investigatory work we can in that 1 hour consult. And I kind of take the charge on that while Danielle's doing the project management side or the client management side. And that in-home consult will then get us to the next phase, which is a ballpark estimate. And this is just a first round proposal. We used to do it differently where we would set up a phone call and we would say, hey, based on everything, we think your project's going to fall somewhere between 2 and 275, depending on scope and depending what we find when we go through the space planning phase. But instead, now we actually build that proposal out in Buildertrend. We have a particular set of templates that we'll use, whether it's a full home, a kitchen, a bath, whatever it is. It does frame the overall vision and what that investment is going to be. Again, as we're doing our investigatory work in the in-home console, we can identify some of those challenges. We don't call them issues, it's very much challenges. So we can answer those questions early, and then it really does set the expectation and boundary for what our full-on process is.
So this is how it works, in case you guys are like, but how are you doing this in Buildertrend?
Yeah, we'll flip through these quick.
So once you're in that lead generator, at the bottom where it says job, we're clicking on that, and then you're either going to from scratch or from template. For sakes of this, I did everything from scratch so you could see how we're building it. Then it creates a job. We obviously select what we're doing. We're fixed bid, so we select that, and then into the next section, we're then entering our job name. For us, all of our jobs, because Clark and Aldine are two street names, all of our jobs are named after two streets. They're the street that the client lives on, and then a sentimental street for that client. We're then filling out the rest of this form so that is set up. Go back on that prefix side. I do want you to note that I always add whatever the two initials are, so that that will help all of my POs align, and then there's not like the QuickBooks kickback of like, you have a 001 again.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to note that.
It is important though for like naming an organization. Like
Yeah.
that's something you as a business have to figure out, like how do we want to be organized? It's not just with the software, it's how you want to be organized and how you guys are gonna reconcile that information. So I love
I
that.
just wanted you to know, in case you aren't doing that, that's like a really fun, easy, quick fix you guys could do today. Okay, and then once this job is created, then we're going into the estimate portion of it. So then here's the estimate. Again, I didn't do this off of a template, but I'm going to show you what I can do. Over on, you went too fast. Over on the right-hand side, there is add from categories. So if I don't have a template, I go from adding from categories, and I'm doing it this way, which is that little like storybook aspect. And then from there, I have cost groups that we have created. And so we break all of our estimates into 3 categories. We have our CNA cost, we have fixtures, finishes, and furnishes, and then we have labor and construction. You're also going to see I have contingency on here and pre-construction. I will upload all of these into our estimate. So now I have all of these different categories into the estimate, and these are just like a time saver for me. I did all the write-ups inside of there. And then what I'm doing is inside here, I and breaking them apart so that the clients can actually see what goes into each category itself.
One thing I want to hit on really quick, go back. So for our construction labor and materials group, we will show line items for everything that's included in that group. We do not show numbers for each line item. We show just the bucket. So
That's actually what I'm going into.
perfect. All right, I'll go into it.
Look at that. Look at that. So on the next section is the client profile. This is really important because this shows if you're building, once you're building the proposal. So again, you're going from here, then you're creating the proposal, and in there where it says display to clients, these are the categories that we show, again, because we are fixed bid and we do not showcase everything. So this is what Michael was talking about. We are only showing the total price and then the parent group pricing.
Yeah. And the reason we do that is in the past, we have shown individual line items like framing labor, drywall labor, paint labor. And clients be like, well, my uncle's an electrician, or my next door neighbor's a painter, or we can paint it. That seems like a lot. Like that seems like a lot. And clients ask, well, why don't you break it out? Because that is the cost to do the job as scoped. If you want that number to come down, we have to change the scope. And when we present it that way, they very much understand. And we also, if they are sticklers, we will bring up those past issues that we've had. And there's also more upfront work that has to happen. If a client wants to use their painter or their electrician, we have to have an introduction. We have to meet them and vet them. We need to get all of their documentation, their paperwork, their insurance. We have to get them integrated into our system and how we work. There could be 10 hours of upfront work right there the client's not gonna be on the hook for because they want to save a few bucks on the electrical or the paint, whatever it may be. So again, we use the same team across the board. We do not do triple bids for anything. Our crew is our crew. That's who we use, and we use them for a reason.
I love that standard though you set for yourself because I feel like when you're going into a conversation, you want to win that client over, but
Mhm.
it's at that level of where I have confidence in exactly what we give, like our experience as Clark and Aldine, what we give to the customer. So you are going with the people we like our team, like you said, like even though they're maybe not in-house, they're your team, and this is the experience you're getting by hiring us. Have you ever, when you guys started, did you guys always do that, or did you guys start doing that at a certain point? Was there any kind of client reactions when you stopped showing them the numbers specifically?
I mean, it just makes the sales and explanation portion of it a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
But our clients now understand because when we're talking to them during that in-home consultation, we let them know what we're following up with and we let them know how it's going to be structured. So they know they're going to see three cost buckets and exactly what they are and why we do it that way. And and again, it's always like, well, that makes complete sense. I understand that. That's great. Whether it lands or not is a different story and depends on the client. But we set that tone up front.
Yeah, and it's definitely setting the expectations of like this is how we work and how we do things as a
Yeah.
company. And we're always reminding clients that like this is us taking all of the burden as a company versus them taking the risk as the homeowners. Because if we're going to do cost plus, it's more them taking the risk as a homeowner, and that we'll just change order after change order after change order them. Versus this way, we're taking the risk saying like what we're proposing to you is correct, unless we find something in the wall or you change your mind on something that you want.
100%. I
So
love that.
then this is building the proposal just so that you know what we're going to do, what we do next. We never send this before talking. So what we will do is we will call the client, set up a call, and we'll say, hey, we just want to give you a heads up. Like, here's what's coming your way. We tell them the numbers so we can hear the reaction on the phone. Then we send it. We never send numbers ever for anything without having an actual conversation, not via email, a conversation. So I just
And
want to
that
make
is
that
with,
very clear.
and that I remember you guys saying like you make sure both decision makers are there. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
do you
And
kind
our,
of work around their schedule? Are you like flexible in that sense, or how do you guys like plan for those?
It depends what it is. I mean, if we have in our contract, we'll just use change orders, for example. We have it in our contract that any change order under $1,000, Clark and Aldine is permitted to pursue. If it is necessary from a code perspective, from a structural perspective, from a mechanical perspective, anything MEP related, if it's under 1,000, we approve. Now, if it is a finish or an overage or anything like that, we'll bring that to the table. We can still approve it, but we'll bring it to the table. We've had in the past so many instances where we're trying to get on the phone with a client for a $500 change order, and we're waiting 3 days or so to get on the phone because we don't want to send it over, or we've sent it over and they want to talk about it and figure out why did this happen. That we've just found ways to go around that.
Yeah, that makes sense for efficiency.
Yeah.
Awesome. So as you guys do this kind of ballpark estimate, what does it look like next when the customer or that potential client reviews it? How do you start moving into getting like that full contract ready to go?
Totally. So here's what it looks like on the client end, just so that you can see that we have each individual section bucketed, and then the client will be able to break through this and see. Obviously, everything's zeroed out because this is just an example to showcase to clients, but this is what they get to see from us, and this is what we're sending over, and they're signing as a proposal. One way that we really break this out for them, I just like love this. Maybe it's because I'm such a visual person, but we tell clients to think of this as the stoplight framework. So think about like when we first do this ballpark estimate, we're in red. This is like going off of our prehistorical data. This is what we're guessing. We're like throwing a dart at the wall and saying, this is what your project's going to take. Then when we get into pre-construction, we're going to do a conceptual design, and that's going to actually tell us what your space plan is and design wise, like what fixtures and finishes we're going to install in your house. And so now we've moved down from red to yellow. And then we do a full trades day with everybody that is going to possibly work on your job, and they're going to walk through your house and they're going to see all the things. They're going to do all their due diligence on their end. And that number is then going to come from yellow to green. And so we explain to them that this is what pre-construction is for, and this is why we can't start at that red number. We need to get down to that green number. Yeah. And the stop sign or stop light really does, like, I don't know, bring it all together.
Yeah, clients seem to understand it. One thing I do want to hit on is our trades day, and I think it's something that we've presented to people, and they've actually started integrating into their company as well. And because Clark and Aldine does not self-perform work, we sub everything out. Our clients get to see the full team, how we interact. They get to see it's like we're not bringing on this electrician or plumber that we met yesterday or reached out to through a referral. Our team has been our team for a minute. Not that we won't bring new people in, new carpenters, things like that, but the core of our team is that. And it means a lot for a client to see that interaction that we have, how well we speak together, the questions that get asked, because everybody will pull me aside for a couple minutes, pull Danielle from a design perspective aside for a couple minutes. It gives them a full picture of who their team is, and it is more of a team versus just a crew that comes in and does XYZ. And it benefits us quite a bit, and it really eliminates the questions from clients asking, well, like, who's doing this work? Who's going to be in my home? They already have met everybody.
So once we have this proposal signed, and again, this is our initial proposal, in here, we're now going to get into the nitty gritty of the pre-construction and what exactly are pre-construction. Like everything we just shared with you guys was like before we're actually in pre-construction.
Yeah.
Now, once we're in pre-construction, this is our like full walkthrough of that. Do you want to hit anything on this?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So this is where we bring everybody over to Buildertrend. And this is the very first message that we send out. And it is like a straight documentation of here's all the things that are going to be happening. And here's all the dates and times and everything I can possibly schedule up front.
Yeah.
So it's explaining, how we name our projects. It's explaining, giving them access to their Pinterest boards. It's asking for their wish list. And then there's all the key dates and times. There's usually a pre-meeting, then there's a conceptual board and space plan meeting. Then we have a a date set for us to do a trades day, and then we have a formal review estimate. All of which I get on the calendar from the get-go.
Yeah.
And this is where clients see that all of this communication is going to come directly through Buildertrend.
Yeah, and this is something that, again, shows them the value in pre-con and how dialed in it is, because people are busy and things can come up and we can shift meetings. But if we have, a 6 to 8 week calendar built out, they know exactly what they're getting, what the meeting is, when they're receiving it. It's like they just cut a $10,000 payment and you don't have those dates right away, or it's like, oh, it's going to be a few weeks, or hey, we're thinking next month. We already have everything scheduled, so it's like, oh wow, this is already, we're starting off very detailed.
Mhm.
And then the other thing I wanted to add is like that pre-construction for us is a flat fee. So all pre-constructions are flat fees, and it's based on the scope of work. Typically for us, it starts at 10 grand and then it goes up from there depending on the scope of work. We do take on projects that are sometimes smaller than 10 grand, but even like kitchen jobs for us start 10 grand.
Yeah.
And from that point, then once this is sent out, then we do the LiDAR scan. So why don't you kind of jump into that?
Yeah, so once the pre-con is set up, they've signed on, we'll go in and do a full LiDAR scan of the space to create a digital twin. I use an iPad Pro, and it's an app called Canvas. There's other ones people use, Matterport, things like that. We like Canvas because it will export to whatever our desired design file is. We use Chief Architect, so it's going to spit out a Chief Architect digital twin, which then we can go in and manipulate the as-built to create proposed space plans. We also submit documentation along with the scan, which would be photos of the interior of the space, sometimes photos of the exterior if we are touching exterior. That just gives their team enough data to manipulate and ensure that the scan is correct and what materials they're putting in is correct from a time saving.
The other thing that we both love about the LiDAR scan is that it's going to showcase us where all of the electrical is, all of the HVAC is. That way that when we're going back and we're rearranging things, because in a remodel that's what you're doing, we actually know where things are and how we have to plan around those aspects of it.
It has a 99% efficiency or accuracy rating, which is solid.
Well, and that's huge, especially during this phase when you're trying to be as accurate as possible to deliver them something that's not going to maybe scare them or scare you guys later down the project and be like, oh, we did not expect that. That's an awesome tool.
That. So in part of our pre-construction process, we do the interior design work, and that's a conceptual design. We use Pinterest. It's a great visual board. I break it down individually by every single space that we are doing. We ask clients to pin here anywhere from 15 to 20 different pins per space. That really is to help us I tell them it's us getting visually into your mind so that not only we can push you, but we can also see that we're designing something that makes your heart happy. Here is our full presentation of what looks like when we're presenting the different space pin options, and then conceptually so that a client gets an idea of where we're going with their project to ensure that we're all on the same page prior to moving into our trades day.
I love
Flip through that one more time.
Yeah.
And then I didn't throw this in here, you guys, but we do get sign off on this in Buildertrend. So I upload this into Buildertrend into my design selection folder, and I use the signatures to have clients sign off on the actual space plan that we're going to move forward.
That's another mandatory. Any document you upload to Buildertrend, have them sign off on it. Everything.
Okay. So before we do trades day, Michael builds out bid packages.
Yep. So our guys will get the bid packages. They'll know exactly what they're coming into the meeting to look at. We also attach we call them the permit drawings, because it's basically the final space plan and drawings we're going to permit with. It'll be a full file with elevations, the as-built, the proposed space plan, and all the details recapped in that document per trade. We do that to protect us and to protect our contractors. Things can easily get missed, and we don't want them to have to eat the cost. We certainly don't want to eat the cost. We definitely don't want to go back with a change order if we can avoid it. So we find some of this, again, this upfront communication and detail matters. with the end result.
With this trades day, I know that a lot of you are probably going to wonder, like, how the heck do you get all your trades to come and how do you get buy-in from them? At first, it was a little bit challenging. I'm not going to lie that we did have pushback from trades, but since we basically have made it a mandatory, if you want to work with us, you have to come to our trades day. And when we know that we have a trade that's more challenging to work with, for example, our electrician is very busy but we love him because he's clean.
Mhm.
Electrician.
It's important.
Yes.
We contact him first.
Yep.
He's always our first one saying, hey, when are you available? We want to do this like in a week or two. And then you also do like a great job communicating via text message and following up and all those things.
Yeah, we schedule a trades day. I'll earmark a couple days that we know are going to work with our clients. I'll call Dave, our electrician, first, confirm which one works with him. He'll move things around if he has to, and then I'll call a plumber, and then I'll call our mechanical, and everyone else is pretty much good to go whenever they can take time away. But our MEPs are the ones that are typically booked out a little bit further, but they make the time to come, and they absolutely love it. It makes their job easy.
And then the beauty of the trades day is that the trades get to talk to each other, and they get to align. And a lot of times they're discovering things that maybe we missed on our initial walkthrough, or even when we were on the lighter things. And
the questions we just didn't ask.
Yes. And the homeowner also gets to meet, like Michael said earlier, the full team. They get to ask any questions that they possibly have. It's just a really great way for them seeing what they're paying for and what they're getting. So then from here, what we do is we build out, again, another estimate. So when we're building out the estimate, we essentially are making a new proposal inside Buildertrend. And it's just because we haven't sent that other one to budget. So it allows you to build a new proposal. So you like unrelease it and then you build in the new proposal. Because we are typically remodels, we have things where clients want to do like an all-in balls to the wall, let's do everything, and then they realize really quickly that that's going to cost them so much more money than they had anticipated.
Yeah, the number that would scare them.
Yes. So what we do is sometimes we will break them out in our estimate into individual categories. So like this one, for example, we broke it out as in a custom build out in an egress window, and then we use it on the side. You can do a little tab and like say that it is required versus
optional.
If it's optional, these are optional ones versus like over here, we did other optional ones. And then that gives our client the ability to either say yes or say no to that. When we do the final meeting, we do this in person. This is not a phone call. This is an in-person meeting. We build actually this fully off of Buildertrend, and I didn't import the deck in here, but I could probably share one out. And it basically is the breakdown of every portion of the job so that they can see it, because we do allowance base for our
fixtures, finishes, and furniture.
I do show them the individual line items for that, and I can't do that in Buildertrends. Well, I can do it, but then I can't do it unless I want to show everything. So I take screenshots and I put it separately, but then when I send it out to them, I take that away so they don't see it. But we go through that all with them, and then we have a really strong conversation in regards to like, okay, here's where we're at. Let's talk about like, are we good to go with this? Do we need a scale? What do we need to do? This is a very open conversation, again, because we recognize that like sometimes we're over scope and we're not over budget.
Well, we have a lot of clients that want to pay cash too. And, if we're taking on a project, we'll say end of Q1 and they're getting a bonus in Q3 or Q4 that they want to spend on part of it. This a la carte approach really works from a remodeling perspective because they get a full picture and then they can plan for it and we can plan for it. We're not going to double do work. It makes no sense. I mean, of course, we could make more money, but that's just not the right thing to do, and it wastes time.
Well,
and
that's repeat clients.
It gives us repeat clients. So we've had so many clients that have come back and say, "Hey, I'm ready to tack on that powder room. I'm ready to do the built-ins now. Do you have time for it? Does the price still stand? Has anything changed?" And we're not going to charge them pre-con again for it because they already paid for that. We will, if we have to adjust numbers or whatever, we'll bring that change order to the table. But they have all the information, and it's pretty damn accurate from the jump.
That's amazing. I'm obsessed with this framework.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
then last thing, it really from the construction contract and designs, communication, clear channels, define expectations, and as we've said, Buildertrend is our one single source of truth. And the single source of truth meaning if it's not on there, it doesn't exist. And I think we did a video about that a year ago or so going into KIBS. But we tell our trades all the time, they'll call and ask for something. And it's like, did you check Buildertrend? Well, no, I just wanted to reach out. Go on there, and if it exists, it's
It's
on there.
there. Yeah.
Stop calling me with this stuff. Like we're trying to educate you guys and make your life simpler. It's on there. Project changes, again, documented change orders, protects the budget, timeline, and scope integrity. We've gotten hammered in the past. We had a job where, again, moving at the speed of light with a team who wasn't as invested as we are because we own the company, just doing work that a client requested without any change order signed. It was a $52,000 bill that we had to eat, which was not fun. And then payments and invoicing, it's a transparent billing structure, it's milestone based, and it keeps the project financially aligned. When we have sign off on a project, we go into construction contract and we're submitting for, once we submit for permits, we're giving them a timeline and then we're for the project, for the work, and that will coincide with the timeline for all payments. And that'll be written out in a Excel sheet or we'll take a screenshot of it, whatever, and email it over so they have all the information. Yeah, and that can shift based on if anything with the timeline changes, but at least they know because a lot of people are pulling money from one account to the next. It's not just sitting in their checking, and that's just how our clients work. And regardless, it just gives a good outline of what's to come. And then I think the only other thing I want to say about the payments and invoicing perspective, if you're not using Buildertrend for it, we all say CYA, cover your ass. And we just in the past 4 months got into a client made a claim that we double billed her on stuff. Again, fixed bid contract, nothing was cost plus. Every change order was signed and approved and paid for in Buildertrend. We exported everything over to our attorneys. They communicated with her attorneys, and we haven't heard a peep in 4 months. Again, we cannot control people. We can control what we do. We can control our process. We can control the flow of information, how it's gathered, how it's shared. And having everything in one now, it just makes so much more sense. And again, if anything happens from a legal perspective, a warranty perspective, a claim perspective, everything is here. And it's a massive time saver. So that's my plug from that perspective. And now on
Huge.
to questions.
Yeah. And done.
You want me to get out of the screen share now?
Totally up to you. Totally up to you. I know we only have a
We're
couple
out.
minutes left, and we do have quite a few questions in here.
Cool.
Um, I'm gonna pick out just like one or two real quick, just since we're about at time.
We can be on longer if you're able to. So whatever.
What I was thinking too, because I know Danielle, I'm pretty sure actually both of you are in the community right now.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
We can also send a list of these questions to you because some of them might be a little bit more detailed. And
That'd be
we can
awesome.
send them over to you guys. You guys can make a post in the community like,
Perfect.
hey, this is a follow-up or something.
Yeah, not a
Okay,
problem.
great. Well, we can talk about a couple here. A couple people are just asking about like those initial conversations that you're having about like Lee was asking, does that what number would scare you question ever backfire? Like prospects could maybe read that as they're sizing me up, they're trying to see how much money we can get out of it. How has that question helped you guys continue to vet your potential clients?
Well, I think we set the expectation when they fill out the form on our site, like our minimum project size is 1 to 150. Again, we get those people to come in. If somebody comes in at like 75, 80, and it's for a bathroom, we can entertain that, again, based on that identifying what the scope is. But once we ask that question, they've already filled out the contact form. We just tell them like there is no wrong answer. We would love the opportunity to work with you, but we really do need to know what are we up against because if you're asking for a full kitchen remodel and you're taking down a load-bearing wall, we can tell you right now that just structural on that wall, we're at 15 to 20 grand. Like just ballpark with everybody involved, we're at 15 to 20 grand because you're touching structural, you're touching floors, you're touching framing, you have drywall, all those trades come into play. And we'll give examples of why we need that number and why it's important. and client gets it and they're like, okay, that makes sense.
We've
And then they'll
never,
spit
I don't
their
feel like
number.
we've ever had that
That's
backyard.
good. That's
But
awesome.
yeah,
And
it's not approaching. I know a lot of people in it probably too have gone through sales training. We've never gone through sales training. I think that's benefited us in a lot of ways. We've learned a lot from our peers. We have a lot of great industry friends that have helped us along the way. But I think some of those sales training techniques are just so stiff and so corporatized that it's not a real conversation. And again, we try to have just a real conversation like we're having now.
yep.
And you'd be surprised how quickly you can get honest information out of it.
Yeah. Kind of following up on that as like a tangent question to this, Brett was kind of wondering, what is like a tip or something you guys tried to help you guys turn down clients politely if you are not going to move forward, if you guys don't think it's a fit, whether it or if they're trying to like nickel and dime you and negotiate things, what are like practical tips that someone could apply in their pre-construction process?
So, an easiest way to let down a client is you can use the excuse of that, as much as we'd love to move forward, our projects are completely full for the year,
Yep.
and that we just no longer have the capability to take it on. And then we have a list of referrals
Yeah.
that
Okay.
That's something that we've started to do is referral.
But we've also learned that like because they're not a good client for us doesn't mean they're not a good client for somebody else.
Yeah.
100%. I love that. Well, and it's just a nice compliment sandwich. We would love to work with you.
Yeah.
However, we
Well,
don't.
we've had clients or potential clients come to us as a great lead, and it's like, well, I really don't want the interior design. I know exactly what I want. Well, everyone says they know exactly what they want. They have most of the time have absolutely no idea what goes into making those decisions. And it's like that's totally cool. We get it. That's not how we're structured. However, we have a couple contractors we can refer you to that we also work with who would be great. This would be a perfect project fit for them. And then if they decide to reach out to them, then go for it. And we don't expect a percentage. We don't do anything like that. If we make a referral and it works, awesome. Somebody that we're friends with got paid.
I love it. Um, we will send you the rest of these questions because this is my favorite question to ask all builders just right
Okay.
at the very end of this is just what is something besides kind of the advice around clients and stuff, what is something that someone could do today or over the next week that they can apply to their business to make a really solid pre-construction process or standards? What would your advice be?
You're like, oh no, what am I gonna say?
No, on the spot. Yeah.
I would say if you don't have pre-construction, this would be something I would start to implement immediately. It's not a hard thing to implement.
Mhm.
Um, Probably you're already doing a good portion of this, right? Yeah. It's just now actually implementing that you're going to charge for it
Yeah.
and that you're going to have that hard conversation of why you're charging for it. And so Michael does a great job with clients expressing to them that you're making the investment up front. You're
Mhm.
doing the due diligence up front and you're paying for that up front. And then we really lean hard in on that we just don't work for free.
Yeah.
We don't work for free. And the more that you can relate that to clients, because everybody's human and no
Yeah.
human out there is like going to be like, yeah, it's like a great idea. Let me
Yeah.
work for free.
Yeah.
So
Value your
that would be the number one thing that I would really urge you to is like implement it and charge for it.
Yeah, a couple things I would say just off the cuff. Write a good pre-construction contract and don't make it complicated. I think our pre-con contract is down to 2 pages. It really shouldn't be that complicated. It's a list of deliverables, exactly what you're going to get, how much it is, whatnot. If you don't have one, feel free to reach out to us. More than happy to send you a copy of what we have. Fine if you're not using Buildertrend for everything from like once you get into pre-con for communication and documentation and sign off, start that now. Just start that process. Everyone in here I know has great clients because you're able to afford to invest in the proper software to run your company. Take that extra step and really protect yourselves and show that you value clients' time so they're not sifting through 50 emails and a chain of text messages a mile long. Do the little things like that we talked about to really elevate your process because that's just solid offerings to a client that they get a lot of value out of.
And then just a reminder, like this pre-construction process is anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. That's what we always tell clients, depending on their depending on
Yeah,
their
it could,
schedule
depending on the scope
and
too. If it's a
depending on
full home, you're looking at potentially 3 months.
Yeah.
if not longer.
Right.
And then again, our fees start at 10 grand. And then we don't really have a good structure for that, you guys, but
We have enough to know like what it's going to take us
10
to.
grand and then up from there.
Yeah, you guys are refining it as you go, which all good processes do. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I super enjoyed this. I think the biggest
awesome.
thing that I think was a great takeaway that someone could apply this week is make sure you're both decision makers in your conversations from the
That,
get-go. I
that,
love that one just because I think it's something that it's so easy, but it's could be such an oversight too. Like, well, I'm talking to so and so, I don't need to talk to them too. But I've really enjoyed this. You guys are
It's great.
gems of humans that I think you guys have just such real applicable information and tactics that people can take home with them. And we know that pre-construction is so important. So I think you guys are great examples of setting boundaries and setting standards. So
Thank
thank you
you.
guys for
And
your
we
time.
just want to thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank all of you in the chat and that joined us. It's humbling that this many people care to listen to us talk and present for an hour. We know you're busy. It means a lot. Again, they'll post everything in the community. You can reach out to us there. If you need things immediately, like in the next few hours or by tonight, Instagram, we're at Clark and Aldine. Follow us, DM us. Like we will share links to whatever. We're here to help in any way that we can because we are truly better as a collective than we are as individuals. And we have to do our due diligence to make our industry strong and better moving into the future because it needs it. So thank you.
100%.
Thanks for filling our cup, you guys.
This was great. I think this was the perfect way to end the year too. So we will
Awesome.
make sure that we send a
Honor.
follow-up email with the recording, with point you guys to the community to continue the conversation. And we'll see everyone in the new year with perfect pre-construction standards.
Go.
Yeah. It'll
Thanks
be
so much.
Bye,
big
guys. Thank
aspiration.
you.
Peace.
Have a good year. Happy holidays.